Today I'm going to do a reflection on a famous painting by Greco titled The Burial of Count ORGAZ. But you'll say, you got the wrong picture. No, it's not the wrong picture. This one here deserves a session of its own. But at the moment, I want you to imagine the young Domenico's Theotokopoulos, who then will become famous later on in Spain as the Greek ELGRECO. I want you to imagine him standing in front of this painting. First of all, he's struck with awe at the artistry and the grandeur of the painting. But then he also rejects the theology behind all this painting. So much so that he offers Pope Pius V to repaint it, to paint all over it and repaint it in his own way. Obviously, the Pope refused. But ELGRECO, later on in his life in 1586, he had the opportunity to do a reflection on the meaning of Christian death with his own painting of the burial of Count ORGAZ. The composition of the painting seems very simple. The top part is heaven, the bottom part is earth. But that's far too simplistic for ELGRECO. In this painting, he asks us to reflect on the interaction between heaven and earth between earth and heaven. Let's start by looking at the lower part of the painting, but first of all an apology to all women. ELGRECO must have lived in a man's world because there are no women here. The only woman in the whole painting is Mary, but I'll speak about her role and importance later. This is a crowd that has gathered together to bury Count ORGAZ. First of all, on the right-hand side is the parish priest who actually commissioned the painting. Then you have a whole row of noblemen. Then on the left-hand side you had two monks, an Augustinian and a Franciscan monk, whispering to each other. But who are the two people holding the body of Count ORGAZ? On the right-hand side, we have the great Saint Augustine, who wrote about the love of God in his life. Late have I loved you, O God. And on the left is Saint Stephen, the deacon, who spent his life in serving others, in loving his neighbors, until he was stoned to death, as represented at the bottom of the dalmatic he is wearing. These two great saints remind the viewers of the way Count ORGAZ lived his life, loving God and loving neighbor. But now let us look at the middle section of the painting. It is dominated by a beautifully winged angel. But what is he holding in his hands? Look carefully. It looks like a tiny little creature, transparent. It's ELGRECO telling us it is the soul of Count ORGAZ taken up to heaven. But the passage between earth and heaven is like a new birth, passing through a new birth canal. And it is Mary, our mother, that continues her role of motherhood by becoming the midwife that will help the soul of Count ORGAZ to transition from earth to heaven. It is Mary, the mother of Jesus and our mother, who welcomes Count ORGAZ now in the company of John the Baptist on the right-hand side, or St. Peter with his keys on the left, and with the whole company of the apostles and the saints and angels in heaven. And all the crowd of people on earth and all the angels and saints in heaven are all focusing on the central figure of the whole painting, Jesus Christ himself. But this is not the fearsome judge on Michelangelo's Last Judgment. This is the Christ who is waiting to welcome Count ORGAZ home with wide open arms. In the lower section of the painting, There are two people staring out at us. Here they are. One of them is the self-portrait of ELGRECO himself. The other one is the portrait of his own son. They are staring at the viewers and saying to them, if you have lived your life like Count ORGAZ, by loving God as St. Augustine did, and loving neighbor as St. Stephen did, then you do not have to fear death, because Mary, our mother, will be there to be our midwife, taking you into the presence of Christ, who will say to you, well done, my good and faithful servant, because whatever you did to the least of your brothers and sisters, you have done it to me. I had a request from a few friends. Elio, could you do some artworks about the birth of Christ to prepare our children for Christmas? And so next week I'll do Botticelli's Mystic Nativity. Thank you for watching. Bye now.